Welcome back, Nick Lenz, Comic Corner, Classic, Non-Classic. This is episode number 1174 and Doubleshot number 1068. I got two Marvel trades here, one kind of an older one a recent one. Oop, damn it. Sorry about that. Yeah. Alrighty, first up it is New Avengers, Volume 4, The Collective. Collecting New Avengers Volume 1, Issue 16 to 20. Written by Michael Bendis, artwork by Steve McNiven and Mike Deodato. Yeah, no David Finch here. David Finch, yeah, the last year was actually his last of his run. This is simply put, The Collective is a New Avengers tie-in to Dissemination, Wrath of House of M. And also, in case you're wondering, look at the cover for Spider-Man. That's not the outfit he wears in here. Nope. Yeah, because this is, of course, just prior to Civil War 1. So, he was given a brand new costume. What costume? The Iron Spider costume. Yes. A costume he would wear when he was first given it. This was, of course, Wrath of the Other. That he actually had this costume for a very brief period of time. He had it appear in all the Spider books published at that point, which was Sensational Spider-Man, Friendly with Spider-Man, even Amazing. Even here, too. And what happens in the storyline is that it deals with something that was set up at the end of House of M. Namely that the powers of the depowered mutants are in the form of a bird. And this thing goes to frickin' Alaska. Yeah, it's like Alaska's be a popular place in Marvel Comics to have a really bad thing happen there. Next time something happened bad like this would be Messiah Complex, 1 year after the storyline concluded. And it takes a very postman named Michael Porter. They revealed this a bit later. And the first thing he does, of course he also took out of town, and he also killed Alpha Flight. Yep, he killed Alpha Flight, with the exception of Sasquatch, mind you. Yeah, it was later revealed that Sasquatch didn't die in this attack. Nope, but here's the strange thing though. Everybody who died in this attack actually, believe it or not, stayed dead in the comics for 4 years. Yes. Apparently, get this, they were brought back by Greg Pak, believe it or not. Yes, Greg Pak brought these characters back in Chaos War. They did have a replacement team to replace Alpha Flight after this. They pretty much took name of a villain team called Omega Flight, and they briefly became Canada's premier superhero team for about a few years. There was actually one person who was offered to join the group, and she declined for two reasons. One, she'd not be associated with a villain group, with a former guerrilla villain group, and second, she was against the idea of the man basically who gets Michael Porter, the man who was indirectly responsible for killing Alpha Flight, wearing the Guardian costume that he was known as Weapon Omega at this point. Yep, and Peter brings up, as Spider-Man, he brings up House of M. And Maria Hill finds out secret identity. There's also references here to the Superhuman Registration Act. Yes, this stupid law, which this is something quite stupid for Marvel. They apparently never bothered to explain what the heck this thing frickin' says. Aside from the fact that the only thing that is known about this is that you have to register your identity for the government, all because you have frickin' superpowers. Yep. And of course, Spider brings up House of M, mentioning that apparently the Michael Porter specific, he's not technically a civilian. His powers are recognized. They are the powers of all the mutants who were depowered. So, Spider-Man's briefly questioned about House of M. He doesn't know anything about House of M. And he mentioned, oh yeah, I went to Genosha, and then apparently they're confronted by Zorn. Yeah, there's this very strange thing related to Zorn, where they had Zorn, it happened in the Planet X storyline in New X-Men, where this came a couple years after that, where it was kind of retconned that that Magneto was actually not the Magneto. Yeah, Zorn was posing as him. This kind of basically goes with that because The only reason I can think of why Marvel decided to retcon Planet X with the whole thing with Magneto, because of the negative backlash that it got. So this is kind of the way Bendis, because he likes retconning stuff. This is one retcon that people actually have no problem with. I've never heard anybody complain about this at all, because it probably is Marvel apologizing to the X-Men fans for kind of indirectly turning Magneto into a freaking Nazi. Because in that storyline, he did something completely out of character, leading a bunch of normal humans into an incinerator. Apparently, Grant Morrison thought it was a good idea for Magneto to do. So Marvel was like, nope, that wasn't Magneto. That was basically Zorn posing as him. Yep. And they kind of go to Genosha with about a bunch of zombies. I thought this was kind of strange. I'm like, why the heck would you go to Genosha for? Now, I get the fact they kind of set up the potential with, well, Michael Porter becomes a superhero. But they also have something with Daisy, like, oh, you offer me to join Avengers? Like, nah, this is a one-time thing. And that probably hit Daisy Johnson the wrong way, because she probably did want to join the Avengers. But apparently that, probably because of associated with Nick Fury, that's probably the reason why that she... Now, as far as I can tell, after this, I don't think it's ever bring up in the comic books how much he doesn't like Captain America at all because of this. Because she apparently thought that she was helping out the Avengers until she can get a place in the team. He's like, no, this is just a one-time thing we need help with. And this probably made her mad. And it's quite strange, though. This has never been followed up with. Now, this came out 14 years ago, believe it or not. Yeah, 14 years ago, this storyline came out. And, yeah, 14 years ago, this storyline came out. And Daisy Johnson is never been followed up with after this if she ever actually resents Captain America for basically disrespecting her. By saying, yeah, you were just brought for this one thing and that's it. We're not offering members of the team. Now, this is Bendis writing this. Now, him writing this is not exactly a good idea, despite the fact he is the one responsible for creating Daisy Johnson. But basically having Captain America openly disrespect her like this by not having her a chance to join the Avengers. Now, Carol Danvers is here in this storyline, but not as a member of the team. Nope, she's not a member of the team. She's just here helping out. But don't worry, she is eventually join the team, but not for some time. She actually doesn't join the team without the Secret Invasion. Good storyline. This book roughly basically I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's a good storyline, but it does have one. The only thing controversial about it is the death of Alpha Flight. Now, in case you're wondering, now, am I going to do Volume 5, which comes right after this? I have a review there already, so it's a Civil War 1 tie-in. Now, what happens to the lineup? Now, Sentry's in this book, but he plays a very minor role in this storyline, where he just deals with what goes on in Genosha, and that's it. That's all you get from Sentry. It's almost like Bendis was like hyping this character up and then doing nothing with him. But he did one more thing in Mighty Avengers. Now, in case you're wondering, what happened with this lineup afterwards? Well, this lineup kind of got split. Well, Spider-Woman, Wolverine, Spider-Man, and Luke Cage, these 4 stayed. 3 of these characters stayed up until the end of Brian Michael Bendis' run for the book. Spider-Woman, who was later revealed to be a Skrull, she stayed with the book briefly after Civil War 1 before she defected over to Mighty Avengers. In the case of Iron Man, he got moved over to Mighty Avengers, where he was part of that group throughout the entirety of the initial incarnation, and briefly part of the Dan Slott era, and then not doing very much. He just basically do his own thing, his own book, and then eventually rejoined the main Team Avengers, which, as far as I can tell, he is still part of this to the very day. He has never been off the team. He was off the team very briefly during the second half Mark Waid run for Avengers, where it became simply Avengers, like right after the events of Civil War 1. Actually, no, Civil War 2, he's briefly off the team, and now he's back on the team under Jason Aaron. But what about the Sentry, mind you? He got moved over to the Mighty Avengers after this, and then he got transferred to Dark Avengers, and then he died, came back in Uncanny Avengers, and then he popped up in Doctor Strange. Then after Doctor Strange, he had a brief ongoing series, and that's it for Century. Okay, now here's something this cover is actually shows a big fat lie. Ronin. Yes, Ronin does not appear in this trade. Yeah, the cover is actually a lie. Yep. Now, where's David Finch? David Finch is not in the book anymore. I don't think he does Revolution, which is the next one that comes right after the events of the Civil War 1 tie-in. He is off the book mainly because he quit. Yeah, he quit because of the fan backlash. Not against him, mind you. He didn't. Apparently, fans did not like the direction of the book. I personally love this book. It's my favorite Marvel books since I've been reading it. Since reading Marvel comics, and he did describe his run as fun. I love his work he did for the book. And Steve McNiven, interesting though, he did this book and then he did Civil War 1. He's also worked on stuff like, besides Civil War 1 and this, he also worked on Oh Man Logan with Mark Millar. That was the only book I could think of they worked together on. He also worked on Civil War 2. Well, this is the Siege Civil War miniseries, which he did do the covers again in a very weird fashion. And he also did The Death of Wolverine, which is really good. Mike Deodato is a guy he frequently worked with on Dark Avengers, and I believe he also worked with him on New Avengers as well. But yeah, that's New Avengers, mind you. Now, when I get next trade in, it will be after Civil War 1. Now, in case you're wondering how many trades are actually left to review for New Avengers overall, well, there is approximately 5 trades left to go for this volume, and 2 trades for the next volume. And that's it, because 3 and 4 are done. And as of now, I have reviewed the first 4 trades and the last 4 trades for this particular run. Oh yeah, actually the first 5 trades and the last 4 trades. So I reviewed technically 9 out of 14 volumes. I know there's a complete collection of this, but I read the individual trades because they're cheaper. Though, the kind of hard to get their hands on, because they're very limited in stock, so you think they're so rare. Yeah. Alright, now moving on to another Avenger, we have Immortal Hulk, Volume 6. We Believe in Bruce Banner, collecting issues 26-30 of Immortal Hulk, written by Al Ewing, art by Joe Bennett, though Joe Bennett is not the only artist on here. Yeah, he does issues 26, 27, 28-30. 20 is done by Tom Riley and Menace Baraglia. Yeah, this comes right after the events of the previous arc, where Bruce Banner takes Rashad base, and Release basically wants to help change the world, and help save from himself. I will discuss this guy who's on the cover, though the strange thing is, he does not appear until the end of the trade. That's not a joke. So, in this storyline, he wants to take out frickin' Raxon. Why not? And the main villain in the storyline is Degro Agnar, aka the Minotaur, who last appeared, I kid you not, in War of the Realms. That was the last time he physically appeared. And he's now a full Minotaur. And he doesn't care that he's a Minotaur. He doesn't care he's a Minotaur form. He's not in human form anymore. Yeah, apparently he has ditched the Minotaur. He's eventually ditched his human form because he doesn't care. He's the head of Rax. They bring up, oh yeah, 2018. I don't know if that's a reference to the fact because the whole thing is pandemic right now, or the fact that's when he was basically taken down in 2018. It's possible, probably because 2018 everything was wrecked in 2018 for Raxon. Yeah, but I don't like the fact that Raxon gets over a minor push in the comics now. Where up until like Jason Aaron took over Thor, Raxon was barely there, and now it's like take over news, which I don't know if that's basically Marvel's thing where it's their parody of CNN. It's just my theory in the matter that comes to Raxon News, because they're taking the whole thing with Hulk the wrong way. It's kind of the same thing when they did in War of the Realms. They referred to the Valkyries as cosplayers. Yes, Raxon News referred to the Valkyries. the female warriors of Asgard as cosplayers. Wow. It's a good thing Jason Aaron written to be so stupid and such an incompetent news network. And Al Ewing, who apparently, I think because he and Jason Aaron are just good writing buddies, he probably like, yeah, I'm going to continue that trend of writing Raxon News be complete utter buffoons and how to be a proper news company and reporting the stupidest news. Now, they also explained the female reporter, I think her name is McKean, I think her name is. Yeah, her newspaper has actually become big as the Daily Bugle because the Daily Bugle's got Spider-Man, so they got the Hulk. The Arizona Herald. And Betty Ross in here, though she's in Harpy form, though her Harpy form looks like her Red She-Hulk form. And I don't know if it's ever explained. So, everybody apparently is taking up the whole thing of basically, right, and here's kind of the strange thing about this. It's almost like that the whole thing with the Hulk, basically, with Bruce Banner going public. Apparently, I don't know if Al Ewing took inspiration from this, but they have people act like the real life rioting. Had much rioting the past couple months, but it's very similar to the Black Lives Matter movement. Yes, it is very similar to that, though it involves the Hulk. And the Hulk really wants to take down the frickin' Minotaur. He takes the various monsters, and then he's confronted by Zomaru. This guy, if you wonder what this guy is an alien. He referred himself as the Living Hulk. He is a whole Hulk enemy. He has fought, and also Namor pops up in here, although so hilarious, along with Amadeus Cho pops up in here because why not? Yeah, but this guy, he is a creation of Roy Thomas. He was actually one of the first villains that the Defenders fought back in the 70s. And the thing is, this guy has always fought the frickin' Hulk. A lot of time when he shows up, the Hulk is always there. The only time I can think of where the Hulk does not show up was actually during Annihilation, believe it or not. And this guy has been killed off several times over the years. Hulk at one point has smashed his frickin' head. And he's still alive. Somehow. His power is mind control. Yep. So you can kind of think of this guy as Hulk's version of the Puppet Master. Or Mesmero. Or friggin' Mysterio. But yes, mind control is this guy's power. And the thing is, Hulk is immune to his mind control. And it is so strange that the Hulk get a chance. It's so cool Hulk get a chance to face this guy again. I think the last time he faced off against this guy, well, I know Cho didn't face off against him. Let me think. I think the last time these two fought off was maybe back in the 80s. Because look up the guy's appearances. A lot of time he appears in issues that features the frickin' Hulk. A lot of the time. Yeah. And he's the creation of Roy Thomas. Yes, Roy Thomas created this guy when he was working on Defenders. It's almost like he was introduced as Defenders villain that later on became a Hulk villain, which I don't think anybody had a problem with that. But this is an absolute great trade. It spoke roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Really good trade. Also Rick Jones in here as the Mutate. Along with Doc Samson. They also revealed that the lead scientist apparently was a drug dealer? What? That is so stupid. How the heck was a scientist a drug dealer? That makes no frickin' sense at all. That's Raxon News for you, completely putting out fake information. And missing the point. They also mentioned that they also mentioned the whole thing about this Black Bud, this $1.2 billion meant to spend to use, and of course, Hulk obviously points out the obvious thing that the U.S. government should have this money. But education and medicine, even he agrees that funding this particular project was utter stupidity. But yeah, he took over anyways. But he probably used it for good purposes. And the senator who claimed, oh yeah, I deny it. And the senator later resigned. Wow. It's almost like Al Ewing. It takes heavy inspiration from real life politics. Very small light politics, mind you, but yeah. But can anybody say that this is not inspiration from the Black Lives Movement? Yeah, but this is done with the Hulk, not with whatever goes on with the Black Lives Movement, because the Black Lives Movement, the rioters associated with them are complete idiots. Yes, where they will cause a lot of property damage and put people out of work, all because of one murder. But I'm not here to talk about the Black Lives Movement. But I don't know if this is an allegory for that. I have no idea. But it seems so it takes sort of inspiration from that, because that's the most recent thing I can think of when it comes to all this, the writings that they have in this book. Okay? Oh, in case you're wondering, this is the most recent trade that's been released for Immortal Hulk, because next one's come out until like next to come out for a couple months. Yeah. And I'm thinking, really? But yeah. That's next book, so yeah. The Avengers, we can see more of that for Immortal Hulk. That's it for now, okay? So, yeah, that's it for Singular Review, and that's it for video today. We're going to see a review probably tomorrow for One Piece, and maybe a Comic Corner, okay? But see you next video. Bye.